Hi. Today I'll be doing something a little different. I'll be talking about a documentary. The documentary I'm going to be talking about is Country Boys. This was first released in 2006 and was part of the Frontline series on PBS. It was a three-parter and it's 6 hours. I first saw it back when it came out in 2006. Obviously, we're now in 2026. 20 years has elapsed and I've seen a lot of great documentary films. I love documentaries. I've never seen one that affected me the way this one did. I still often go back to it and rewatch it. And what's so great about this film is it's anything but manipulative, the way so many documentary films are and have become even more as of late. The way that you can tell the filmmaker has a point of view and you almost feel like you're being manipulated as a viewer, and that it's almost more of an exercise in self-indulgence. This film is anything but that. This truly is that experience of getting to be a fly on the wall. And when it's over, you truly feel like you've taken a journey with the subjects in this film. You felt what they felt, and you feel wiser and better for it. You feel like you're more of an empathetic person. And also, what stands out, these are the type of people whose stories often go untold. And when Hollywood tries to do it, they don't seem to be able to do it without demeaning the subjects, without making it somewhat cartoonish. This film follows two boys, Chris Johnson and Cody Perkins. And they're 15 when it starts, and at the very end, it follows them from the ages of 15 to 18. And these are boys in rural Kentucky, where poverty is just a way of life. And it shows how their daily life is simply a study in survival. You've got people who, Chris Johnson is in a family where his father is nothing more than a fall-down drunk. His mother works at McDonald's. She only cares about him staying in school because she gets a check from the government from him being there. Then you have Cody Perkins, who never knew his own mother, and then his father committed suicide after he killed the woman he was dating at the time. And he's being raised by this grandmother who's really not even his grandmother, not even blood. And we see what life is like for these two characters, and how every day they have to overcome an obstacle with little to no help at all. And as I said earlier, what separates this one is it doesn't manipulate the audience and it doesn't manipulate its subjects. You never feel as though Cody, Chris, their families are being taken advantage of or made to look foolish for the filmmaker. If anything, you feel like he's doing a public service for shining a light on this. And I have gone back and rewatched it several times, and it hits me. I think it should be required viewing. I think every high school should show this. Every sociology class in college, all students should watch this. They will be better for it. What really stands out about it now, reality TV was prevalent at the time that this came out, but we didn't have shows like Teen Mom. We didn't have Honey Boo Boo. We didn't have these people that were being plucked out of obscurity, in a sense, to be mocked and pointed at like they're circus freaks. This did it with a respect for its subjects, a respect and an empathy for their plight. And as I said, he never manipulates us as viewers. We just sit back and watch. And it reminds us what really goes on when you live below the poverty line, when your daily life is a struggle, when the best possible outcome for you may be simply to work at Taco Bell. It hits home. And I give such credit to Sutherland for that. And so many times if they do something about, I remember around this time they had done some show where they had, I believe it was Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie go stay with a family in Arkansas. And these were shows that were silly, had no depth, and trivialized everything and dehumanized everything. And even shows like The Bachelor, that type of reality TV and a lot of the documentaries that we see, you have to question the morality of the people that are participating in the process. Where, and I know a show like The Bachelor, Bachelorette seems innocuous enough, but when you see a certain person intoxicated or drunk and it doesn't occur to anybody to try to get them off camera, it's no, this is good television, keep the camera rolling, this will be great for ratings. And it's that whole thing of we watch it the way we watch a train wreck, and then to see something where you come away with a compassion that maybe wasn't there before, that makes you realize how lucky you are that you didn't face the struggles these people face, that makes you ask the question, could you face it with the same amount of grace that these two young men face it? There's a scene where he's arguing about something, and he's 15, 16 years old, and he said something about an alarm clock. And she said, well, you could go buy one, or your dad, he doesn't work, you could go get it. To be 16 years old when I was growing up, and to think that I would have to get money out of my pocket to buy an alarm clock, and the response would be, well, your dad's drunk all the time. It's not like he uses his, take his. And she says that very matter-of-factly to her son. And watching that and realizing that's the world that he lives in. That's reality for him. That is day in, day out. And then the other boy who never even got to know his own mother has a father that commits suicide. The only thing he really has is a girlfriend that seems to mean everything to him, because this is his first experience giving and receiving love. And seeing them have to navigate this with no help. And it made me kind of look inward. And I didn't know people that had these kind of struggles. To me, you were downtrodden if your parents couldn't afford to send you to an out-of-state school. That was like, wow, you've got it rough. You can't afford to go out of state. You have to stay local and maybe go to a community one first. You must come have it pretty hard. And then to see this, and to see it done from a filmmaker who has a certain regard for the kind of quiet tenacity that these boys have, and never once seems like he's trying to catch them in an embarrassing moment or pull something out of them that they don't want to share. If anything, it's as if he's providing them a platform, and for those like them, a platform to kind of wake the rest of us up and say, this is a reality for a huge segment of society. And I remember even hearing from someone that I knew who had been to the Appalachian area, like Harlan, Kentucky, somewhere like that, on a mission trip. And they had brought toys, they brought clothes, they brought all this. And the kids immediately ran to the clothes. They weren't worried about things like toys. They didn't have what they needed. Therefore, they didn't have the luxury about thinking what they wanted. And to you hear stories like that and they resonate. But then when you see someone's daily struggle and see where they go home to, and it's a place that you wouldn't even want to spend the night, and realize that's the only place they got. And it made me think back to when I was younger. My mother was a teacher, and I remember her dropping these students off where they lived and seeing it. And these are kids that I knew. And when I saw where they were going to, realizing that I didn't maybe know them as well as I thought I did. I saw them every day. We were in class. But when I saw what they called home, what was normal to them versus what was home and normal to me, I realized that even though they were a part of my world for 8 hours every day, we lived in two very different worlds. And it's important to be reminded of that every so often. And to be just held accountable and reminded that there's a huge segment in this country that we just don't talk about. We hear it mentioned, but we really don't think about it. Politicians don't even really bring that region in America up that much. It's almost the forgotten America, you could say. And seeing people still have the resolve to push forward with nothing really great waiting for them on the other end. They're not striving for fortune and fame. For them, a steady paycheck, being able to pay their bills, not having to possibly live just week to week. To them, that is the American dream. And I remember showing somebody a clip of this documentary, and I realized that it was completely lost on them because they tried to show me some other clip of this train wreck of a fan, and I thought, you didn't get it. This isn't meant to watch how funny it is. And it completely went over that individual's head. They didn't get it. It didn't register with them. The pathos, all of it was lost. And they wanted to show me some kind of silly production that had recently come out where, somebody was talking about methamphetamine and kind of shook this bottle and said, that's the mating call around here, where they were playing to the camera, where the filmmakers were rewarding exhibitionism. That's what they wanted, play to us. And that's not what this is. This is not people who feel that if they act obnoxious enough, maybe they'll get their own show on MTV, VH1, or TLC, or, something. There's so many of them now. It's what dominates television. This was just a filmmaker having the vision and then the character to carry that vision out and tell the story that too often goes untold of those that are born into poverty and who really don't see a way out. And brings up the question of what's our responsibility in this? And he doesn't ask it like they do sometimes in a Michael Moore film and then, put in his point of view. But it makes us as viewers ask it of ourselves. And I guarantee you, if you watch this documentary, it'll be the fastest 6 hours of your life, and you can do it in a part 1, part 2, part 3 thing. You will be better for it. And you won't ever forget Chris and Cody and the people that they encounter along the way. Chris, for instance, had a friend, and I've never forgotten this guy, who couldn't read. worked at Taco Bell and they moved into this trailer together. I've been to Taco Bell, I've been to places like that. I've seen people pull in cars that were barely running. But I never knew what their life was like outside of that. This was the first film that gave me a glimpse into that world. And I'm a better person for having looked into it. And I guarantee if you take the time and watch this, you will feel the same way. In a time where we're bombarded with my 1,000-pound life, 1,000-pound sisters, pimple popper, take this off my face, take my tumors, 90-day fiance. We're bombarded with trash, and some people even choose to bathe in the trash. And every once in a while, we get something like this that is edifying and entertaining and educating. And that is why I am on here talking about it. It's been 20 years. I still go back and watch it from time to time. And it still hits me the same way. And I know it will for anybody that chooses to watch it. So I really hope you give it a shot. Until next time, thanks.